Hi everyone, it's me Darlene. I am back with part 2 of our 6th quilt block of the month, the block for June. In part 1, we made this specialty square. We're going to talk about that in a second. Part 2, we're going to put this all together. And in part 3, I will show you my big stitch quilting that I did and the join. I will be joining to the second row, and that will complete our second row because we are doing 3 blocks wide by 4 blocks tall, and the second row will be completed, and I will attach it to the first row. So we're going to have half of the quilt done after this one. For part 1, we did this butterfly block. You do not have to make this to complete this square. You can cut any piece of fabric that is 8.5 inches wide by 8 inches tall. It's a good time to use a big print if you have, or maybe you can use a fabric panel that you have. Anything you want, but you just don't have to do this. Obviously, if you want to do this, you need to go watch part 1. I have a playlist link for this entire series in the description box of my video. It will also pop up on the end screen at the end of this video. And if you go to the description box, you'll see playlists for my other series too, 12 blocks of Christmas and my crochet block of the month. So I got a lot of stuff going on. Today we're going to put this together, and I'm going to make it very quick and easy. I've decided I'm going to give you the sizes as I put pieces together, like I do in my 12 blocks of Christmas series. I like doing it that way instead of putting little A, B, C, and all that stuff. I don't need to do that. As a reminder, this right here needs to be 8.5 wide by 8 inches tall. So jot that down somewhere. And we're going to do this like in 4 other parts. There, 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 and there. Let's start with something very easy right here on the bottom. You need a 2.5 inch square, and this piece is 6.5 wide by 2.5 tall. Let's just sew those two together right there. I've got that done, and just like with my 12 blocks of Christmas series where I'm telling you how you can change things the way you want, you know, if you don't have a directional print, you can do this. Or if it was something directional and you wanted this on this end, you can do that. You can make all the changes that you want. So we've got this done. Let's tackle this baby. I always am so worried that I didn't give you the right size for pieces because it doesn't look like this will ever fit into this, but it will. So let's start right here. We have 2 2-inch squares. Sew those together right there. Put that back. Now we have 2. They are 3.5 inches wide by 2 inches tall. 3.5 wide, 2 inches tall. Sew these 3 pieces together. And yes, we are using 1/4 inch seam allowances. Do not worry about them having to be perfect. And see, this is going to fit nicely to that. So let's sew these 2 pieces together. And I forgot to tell you that this piece is 5.5 inches wide by 5 inches tall. You needed to know that. 5.5 wide, 5 tall. So we have these 2 pieces that will fit nicely to our 8.5 by 8 block. I'll just leave that here. These pieces, you have a 3-inch square, 3 wide by 5.5 tall, another 3-inch square, 3 wide by 4.5 tall. I originally had it like this, but then, I don't know, I cut these pieces and they're both kind of blue, so I thought I would put it like this. And you can do the same. You do things whatever way you want. Do remember to lay out your other blocks that will be on the side of this and on the top of this, in case you want to make sure that you don't have some of the same exact prints touching those other blocks. If that's not a big deal to you, then do whatever you want. But I laid mine out so that I knew nothing on the top here would be an exact same print as something above it. And then this is going to be joined to a block here, to the May block, and this is June. There won't be anything on this side. That'll be the end of the row. Okay, one more time. 3-inch square, 3-inch square. 3 wide by 5.5 tall, 3 wide by 4.5 tall. Arrange them in any order that you want. I'm going to sew all 4 together. So there, there, there. Now we have these 3. So let me tell you the sizes. This one is 4 wide. They're all going to be 4 wide. That's why they're going to fit in this direction. 4 wide by 6 inches tall. 4 wide by 4.5 tall. 4 wide by 5 tall. Swap the order if you want. And we're going to sew all 3 of those together. Now I have this and we're almost done. We are going to sew these 3 pieces together. And yes, you could swap it if you want. I'm leaving it like this, sewing this to this, this to this. All we have left to do is sew this here and this here. And everything fit, so I did the math the right way. Like that and like that. And I'm done. I did a pretty good job with this one. Sometimes I have, a lot of ends sticking out or whatever, but this one came out really, really good for me, and I do not trim anything until the very end, because if you have a block, ½ an inch smaller than all the others, well, then you're going to trim them all down to match your smallest one, so don't bother trimming at this point. I am very happy with this block, and I will show you close-ups in a little slideshow coming right up. Just want to remind you to subscribe so you don't miss any of the other blocks in this series. And again, go look at the description of this video because I have the playlists for my other series too that I think you will enjoy. I'm having fun with this one. I really like the butterfly. I think maybe, I don't know, might be my favorite so far. Could be, maybe not. I think they're all my favorites, right? I will have part 3 uploaded maybe a couple days after this one was uploaded because it takes me a little bit of time to do the big stitch quilting, and I will have that done. What I like is this is a big block, so my big stitch quilting, I won't have as much to do because I don't do the stitching through the specialty block, so I should be able to handle that one and not have it take too long. Then I will be joining this block to the end of row 2, and then I will be joining rows 1 and 2. So excited. Half of it will be done. Thank you so much for watching. Like I said, you gotta subscribe, and I'll be back with more soon. Bye!